Hey everybody, welcome to we'll just call these the Berm Cannon Monday Night Live shows. Tonight's special. I got a couple dudes that they are watchers like you, but they were the first ones to sign up for the Baja Diaries Baja ride back in September, which pretty much fell apart, and they went without me. So let's get. So I want to welcome here two guys that let me set this up because actually in September we had a trip planned. I put together this Baja Diaries ride, and I put out on my Instagram and my YouTube page of like, hey, if anybody's interested in going, respond. And Taylor and Gordon, a couple of my I'll call you guys now the golden level of followers. These guys jumped right at the chance. Or like, and over the years I've had a lot of people tell me, "Hey, I want to go with you. How do I go?" I've had guys just go, "Hey, I'm down here in San Diego. Just call me. Here's my cell. If my wife picks up, don't talk to her. Just tell me I'm ready." Like all kinds of just like unique characters that watch my videos. But you guys have you're like, hey, we're down, we'll do whatever. And what happened? It was right in the middle of the shit end of COVID, and I had to end up pulling out. And then you guys grab the flag. You're like, you know what, Mark? We're gonna do this without you, and we're gonna we're gonna we're gonna do it. And I'm like, okay, great. And we actually had Baja Bound and Tim and his lovely wife. They were actually a part of the the project as well. And because I just didn't, I needed some extra hands to kind of guide the group, and they ended up taking you guys. And I'm glad you guys are here tonight, and we can talk about your guys' trip. You guys never kind of been, you guys, both of you never been to Baja, right? Before this?
Right.
Nope, that's right. Yeah, I mean, I did a holiday weekend with my wife went to Cabo once, but I wouldn't call it going to Baja by any stretch.
And, I did sense you guys before this was coming up back in August, you guys were getting really pumped. Talk about, kind of what you were thinking before you went. Um, Obviously, you probably had anxieties and stuff, you know?
No, let's go back, Mark, just a little bit. So Taylor and I have been buddies for 30 years and always around motorcycles. And we've been talking about Baja, you on and off and on and off. So BC, before COVID, he and I stumbled on your channel. I think you actually found it and then
Yeah,
gave me a heads up.
yeah.
And we were like, hell yeah, this is it, man. Watched every show multiple times. So we went out and we looked at 650s. And very quickly I realized that I'd rather have an electric start. So I went the 450 route and so did he. So we bought bikes, tore them down, built them from the ground up, did the whole deal. Yeah, you can say we were pumped, man. We were trying to connect with you on it. I think we first started asking you if you could set us up with some routes and hotels and stuff like that. And
Right.
fast forward, that morphed into, well, hell, I'll do a ride. And we're like, we're in.
Yeah. I mean, the thing for me was, I finally kind of got back into motorcycle riding. I've been a mountain bike rider and racer for 20 years, and it kind of scratches that same itch. But kind of Gordon's kind of been pushing me and nudging me to get back into it, and I finally did. I dove off and got there, and and like you said, with a dirt bike and doing the dual sport thing and just ripping around gravel roads in East Texas, and and somehow, yeah, I found your channel, and one thing led to another, and I'm like, and I'd always wanted to go down there ever since like I watched like Wild World of Sports, when I was 10, and watching
Right.
them interview Parnelli Jones, and I'd see dirt bikes in the background, and I think like, wow, how cool would that be? And kind of like you, I just it's talked about in some of your, going down there, some of your trips down there. I just want to go down there and ride, eat tacos, and maybe surf and fish and swim and whatever. Because I mean, I'm 50, so yeah, we thrashed and we got bikes done, and we got them built, and we one up each other every other week with parts and stuff, and we'd start breaking them in and doing rides, locally, and we were like, okay, we think we can do this, and that was it, man. There was no apprehension at all, though. Back to your question, man, for us, it was like a big vacation. We took our sport bikes with us. We both ride Ducatis. We went to New Mexico and rode sport bikes around there for a couple days. And then I did some mountain biking up there. And then we dropped down the interstate and hammered down to San Diego, knowing we were going to get into. I was chomping at the bit to get down there and just rip down a beach, man, and just go for days and explore and not have any traffic and congestion and any of that stuff. Just enjoy some life off the grid a little bit. It was great, man.
So tell me, when you guys finally crossed the border and you guys were riding, describe each of you. What did you guys? Everybody has that moment, and it could be 5 or 10 minutes when you cross the border, and it's by yourself. You're riding, and then you're thinking to yourself in your helmet, like, "Wow, I'm here." Describe that moment where you guys finally, like, "I can't believe we're here and we're doing this."
Man, we had so we're both mic'd up with Cardos, so we bullshit the whole time, bust each other's balls. But we got across the border, and it was easy.
In Tecate.
We in Tecate. It was really no big deal. And I've been to Mexico. We both live in Texas, so we've been to Mexico plenty, but just not over the northern Baja. But we finally got through and started getting on the highway to Ensenada. And the first dirt road we turned off on was when it hit me. I was like, this is what we've been planning for. This is years in the making. We're here. It's badass. Let's go.
I guess that was the Comandante Road or whatever that takes you through the national park. It looks a lot like the terrain, like, that going up the Borrego grade on I-8, coming into San Diego.
Right.
Like, it looked identical. And it was nice because as you actually start to climb up and you get into some of that bold, smooth stuff, and you just start ripping along. And it was, I mean, we were giggling and laughing and taking it all in. But I think it really, really hit me when we, I guess, was it the end of day one, and I could tell we were on some highway for a while, and then I smelled it, and I'm like, man, that's the ocean. I mean, I grew up on the Gulf Coast, so I know what salt air smells like, right? And I kept asking Gordon, like, hey, is that you smell is that the ocean? Like, we gotta be close. And so, because the idea is that we're gonna drop down on the beach and rip, and I think actually we didn't. We just ended up riding up the Cowles. Which is still a great view and a great ride in. And we had a great time. I mean, I was smoked. We were tired. My hands hurt, my feet hurt, whatever. But it was awesome. So the next morning, I knew, like, and I could barely sleep, even though I slept really well. And because I knew we were gonna do the beach riding that day, and that was great, man. We didn't go 5 miles. I mean, and we were on the beach and just pinned wide open, as fast as we could. Just bombing over those little drain outs and stuff, and just as fast as you could want to go. It was awesome. That's when it really, like, kind of soaked in for me. It was just soaking in all the views. It's such a beautiful place down there, and it's a shame that more people don't go down there and appreciate it, I think.
Mm-hmm. What your guys' first stop that night was Coyote Cowles. Yeah. Tell me about your experience there.
Well, some of the people were overserved, although I don't think it was the proprietor's fault. But, it was always first night flame out. which I consciously avoid. But interesting place. We had there were bunk rooms up in the rafters over here, and there
Ronnie
were
was.
there
Yeah.
was a big roll down gate here, and all of our bikes locked up. So it felt like we were definitely not in the United States anymore.
Hmm.
I
But
remember thinking like I had to pick between a bed that where my ass sunk and one that was like about as hard as this table, and I ended up throwing like a blanket on top of it, And so I mean, but it wasn't like bad. It was just rustic and had a charm to it. Um, I mean, it was cool, man. We met a guy. Geez, Lance, I can't remember his last name. He was a rep for Fox, and now he's doing like Baja overland trips down there with folks and their 4x4s and their soft roaders.
Hmm.
And he was a really cool cat. We sat and talked and smoked cigars, and it was just really cool, man. It was neat. It made me realize like, hey, I could take my wife down here, and she wouldn't be too disappointed with with roughing it and overlanding down there or something.
So,
I thought it was cool.
so yeah, the one thing about Coyote Cows is it is the perfect picture of 2020. Here we are living in the modern ages of
Hmm.
literally like a saloon, and you get everybody from the smart, intelligent writer to the complete disaster mess of a guy who's just trying to escape his house in America. And you just get a bunch of different characters that are on all these different energy levels. And yeah, it's funny. Every time I go there, there's always a guy where you're like, oh yeah, he's cool, but like then there's a guy in the corner that's completely out of his mind, and you're like, okay. Um, but back to your point.
So that guy actually, let me interrupt because that guy would have been in our group, and that was Jeff.
Oh.
Jeff, the support guy.
Oh,
he's
okay.
he's Tim's he's
Man.
Tim's like head wrench support guy. Drove the chase truck.
Oh, of
God, I can't
course.
remember his last name.
Very,
And,
very entertaining.
and quite entertaining. And yeah, by the end of it all, it was really cool because actually he and Tim, uh, they've got a lot of history down there, and they know a lot of they just endless stories about the place and the race and stuff.
Oh
So
yeah,
that was really
absolutely.
rad too.
Absolutely. Tim is more like I told you guys before. He's more qualified than me, and he's like Baja George status. I mean, he's been going down there
Yeah.
since the 70s. And but one thing I was going to just add to is like trust me, it, we all come back thinking like, "Hey, our wives might enjoy this." And then you take them down there and you find out differently.
That's fair. And I'll keep that. I'll put that in the memory bank and try to hold on to that.
See, I had no problem wearing the same riding pants for 3 days, but I don't think the girls would like that.
Maybe not.
Yeah, I mean, Baja George, he's taken his side by side down there, and he's taken his wife, and as long as you're in a truck, and you kind of show them at least a day or two in Guadalupe or in Ensenada, a day at Coyote Cows with a bunch of rowdy cowboys, I think they'd be fine. But my wife was like, okay, I've been here once, that's good enough.
Yeah,
Yeah, done.
that's fair. So mine might be the same, but it was neat. I mean, the place had a neat little charm to it. I grew up, we like Gordon said. I mean, we're in Texas. We go to Mexico a lot. One summer, I lived down in Mazatlan. I had a mountain bike race down there just on a whim. I just threw my bike on a plane, and my wife came with me, and we were down in interior Mexico in the Sierras. So I don't, you find trouble. I remember like so many people were approaching me, my dad, like people I work with, and then I'm getting links to articles and stuff about all the dangers and the things and stuff. And it's like, if you go looking for trouble, you're gonna find trouble, and watching folks like you go down there, reassured what I already kind of knew and suspected about Mexico is that it's, you don't go down there and be an idiot, and you're gonna have a good time. If you go
Right.
looking for trouble, trouble finds you.
And of
So, which
course,
is kind of true anywhere.
yeah, and of course, and using a little bit of wisdom on when and where you travel down there
Yeah.
is part of it. I mean, There's places here in America that if you go the wrong time of the day, your risk goes up,
Yeah, you've been to Detroit then, huh? So
or Chicago.
exactly.
So
Yeah.
you guys then went down to San Quintin. Tell me about your experience down there.
Well, that was the beach day, I guess. We hit the beach, and God, I mean, I don't know the mileage.
What bars? 100 miles.
Yeah, I mean, we had to be on the beach for a half hour stints at a time, just wide open and having so much fun. It was just cool, man. I mean, just going forever and ever. The views. We stopped at that big funky hotel um, that's apparently been under construction for 20 years or something.
Yeah, Pirate
Um,
Hotel.
yeah. Which it was really neat, and cool. Even though it was kind of hot, but I guess at some point we started kind of crossing over or coming in, and we got on like live course or stuff that had like course markers on it. So you come into those valleys and hit that really cool gravel road that just kind of skirted that stuff, and that was really cool too, man. I mean, it was neat how fast it changed, and we'd go from I don't know if that was day 2 or 3 where we went like it was like 108 or 110 on my trail tech, and then all of a sudden like it radically shifted and changed once we got out of that little valley. It was really cool. I mean, it was just the diversity of all of it. It was so much fun, man. I dig all that stuff though.
And so yeah, the how the temperature changes, it really does go that much of a temperature difference.
No, but San Quentin, watching your videos, I know you said you weren't real fond of it because it's always overcast and
Hmm.
kind of nasty, I believe.
Right.
But
Yeah.
man, we got there. It was gorgeous.
Yeah.
Really?
It's really beautiful. We stayed at the Old Mill Hotel, so it's got
Hmm.
some history. Great restaurant.
Yeah, the food was actually
Food was,
spectacular.
yeah, tremendous.
I had a surf and turf. I mean, I had a fillet and a rock lobster that was, as big as like a baguette, and a surf and turf the size of a big man's fist, and it was amazing. It was as good as anything I'd eat here. Uh, that was the night that it was that you talk about a rowdy bunch, man. We were it was a pretty rowdy crowd on all sides down there, but that was a neat little area too. I digged it, man. It was cool, kind of picking our way through all the different terrains. Because I think we did beach in the morning, and then we kind of went in.
Salt flats.
Yeah,
The little salt ponds in the back.
that
Yep.
was on the way out the next
Yeah,
day.
the way out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like
That's cool.
crossing into the mountains and then kind of skirting them and then coming back down towards the beach, whatever loop that he had us on was really kind of cool. Cause we're just, it was just fun, man. I mean, we had such a great variety. And then to end it with such a great meal, food was just amazing. And again, like Tim and Jeff, like had the bikes sorted, and I mean, we were lubing chains and cleaning air filters, the next morning, before we rode out, and it's really nice to have that, that's a great way to do it.
Yeah, so you're saying it's
Sure.
nice to have like a little support crew for the bikes, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Spare bike in case somebody's broke. I mean.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
Those are all
mean,
pretty nice.
it's and that's how it should be done, and that's kind of how I wanted to do the trip because there's a lot of stuff like in my videos of just me and my backpack, and there was a lot of things that I never filmed that were shit shows. And now that I'm getting older, and especially if you've watched the last 3 Baja Diaries I did this past year, you know, it's nice when you can carry everything, or if you're on a bike that is really reliable, like the Africa Twin,
yeah,
and it really sets your mind at ease, and you're able to do the fun thing, which is just explore and not worry
sure.
about pit stops and all that stuff.
Yeah, no, for sure. And trust me, I mean, I've already kind of started thinking that way myself as well. Um, and I think it was watching your videos, where you were kind of having your revelations about the Africa Twin and being able to walk out to your garage and just go jump on it and ride, not have to truck it or have a short little limited ride.
Right.
Yeah. Living in Houston, I mean, like smack dab. I mean, I've been downtown Houston's where I live. So we're pretty far from, from places to go ride, even just a dual sport ride. I mean, we got a pretty, you either haul it or, you're just pounding freeway for, an hour, which on a 450 dirt bike, is not what I'd call ideal. So I don't know. I mean, it's
You guys are getting old. I'm disappointed.
Yeah.
maybe so.
I'm not willing to admit that I'm that old yet, man.
So I don't know. I mean,
Maybe in a couple of years.
What is
I like the idea of going down. I think my next trip is, and maybe not to jump ahead or anything, but I mean, I like the idea of going down with like a fishing pole, breakdown fishing pole and a rod tube, a set of fins and a mask and
yeah.
and a little bit more clothes and stuff on something a little bit more reliable that, and work my way, as far south as I can get,
Right there, and that's kind of the essence of my whole storytelling point of view is it's fun riding bikes down there, but yeah, if you can bring a breakdown pole, some fins, stop in a town and go on a fishing trip, you really,
Yeah.
really will multiply your experience and the stoke meter. You know, to be honest, a lot of my friends are racers. Like Johnny, Colton Udall, like those racers. They go down there and they taste the race part of it. They get the juice, right? And for years they would want to. They're like, Mark, you should race. Come race down here. And I just didn't want the racing taste to ruin what Baja meant to me, which was it's just a giant Disneyland to go down there and do this kind of stuff that I love, like surfing, get tacos. And I feel that the racing thing for me was at home. I could just stay home and race, where Baja was more than that. It was more about losing yourself, but finding yourself in other hobbies besides just on a motorcycle, if that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. It was fun. I mean, I think on day 2 we were riding those roads along the beach too, on the cliffs up above, and we'd get into some whoop sections, and it was kind of fun. I mean, like smashing some big whoops and nothing that would impress anybody, that's been down there more than twice. But for me, it was a lot of fun to ride on that rough stuff and have a good time, man. But I'd still think, was that the day we did some single track? I think so.
Mhm.
Yeah, Tim took us off, I think, on some single track. I think he was actually trying to avoid sending us up into oncoming pre-run traffic, because there were guys pre-running for, I think, the 500 or the 250 that were down there, and the route he wanted to take would have been straight up the course. So he just dove off and took a cow trail or whatever off into the agaves. So, and that was kind of cool and kind of fun. But I think other than that, there's really nothing down there that I felt like we couldn't ride on a 701 or even a T700 or, a 790 or something. I mean, it obviously you got to dial it back with riding bikes like that, but but then you're not missing all the cool scenery and all the fun stuff to explore.
Right. I mean,
So I don't know where the line falls.
yeah. What and then your third night, where did you guys go on that?
Horsepower.
Oh yeah, horsepower. Yeah, we came back towards
So
Ensenada.
each night they kind of leveled up the accommodations.
They did.
Horsepower was really cool.
Yeah.
Nice place.
That's a great place.
Nice room, huge showers and bathrooms, and
Yeah.
great courtyard.
The ride that day started with your fall with the big downhill near Cows, I guess, where you fell and broke the foot peg off the Dominator.
Mm-hmm.
I even went back and checked. I was like, yeah, that's the same. Like, I found the video later on, I don't know, the next week, and I was like, yeah, that's the hill, because you can see everything at the bottom. It's the spot. And I knew it coming. As soon as I came down, I'm like, this is the spot where Mark fell. So I'm like, so don't screw this up.
Yeah.
So that was a rough day, man. My hands were so numb and just getting beat up. We rode some rough stuff. We rode those towards the end of it, I think we ended up on like that red like lava rock stuff near that volcano climb.
Mm-hmm.
That was wild. Or was that Old Mill? I guess that was Old Mill.
That was Old Mill.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, my bad. But it was cool. I mean, horsepower was neat. I mean, just going through Ensenada, that was a neat town. I mean, there was some cute little parts of it and some neat little townhomes and stuff. And it makes me want to go back there and visit maybe during the race and just walk around and just eyeball all the hardware and stuff. And then we roll into horsepower, and yeah, it's this beautiful little lodge with flowers and gardens and just great accommodations. I mean, the food was awesome. The beds were so great. And we really earned it, I think, that day for sure. I was wiped out. I was smoked by the time we got there that day.
What I want to ask both of you guys, now that you've been down there, what would be your favorite part of the trip? And we'll start with this. What was your best, I shouldn't say best part, but like, was there a moment on the trip where you enjoyed most, and when you got home, you think about it time to time when you're just like in bed, you think about a certain moment on that trip? What was your favorite?
I think mine was day 3. So that was from San Quentin to Horsepower Ranch, because we got to go right up the beach again for another 20, 30
We took those
miles.
salt flats out.
And then we
there.
went inland quite a bit and had that tough day. So the day he just described, it was fairly tough. That was my favorite because we got to see lots of different sides of Baja. So cool, foggy in the morning. And we got on the interior. It was hot and dusty and sweaty. And then worked our way back towards the coast a little bit.
Yeah.
So that day, it was 140 miles.
It was a long day.
Something like that. A pretty long day. But to me, that was the most satisfying. Maybe want to go back for sure. That was the
I
day.
think for me it was really both the day 2 and 3, because I think we felt like we were kind of returning on some routes, and maybe it was day 4, but we were riding on those dirt roads above the beaches, on those cliffs up above it, just kind of smashing through those lip sections, and just kind of ripping and hauling ass, and just kind of chasing each other's dust. Kind of that fast, flowy, sort of smooth whoops, not necessarily the rocky, craggy stuff. I think I struggled a little bit with my bike setup. So the day 3, it was a little rougher and a lot more chattery stuff, and my hands were pretty torn up by the last day. But I also really loved that Comandante road going through going up through that park up there. It was just the raddest, because it is smooth and there's not nearly as many rocks, and you get these fun little flowy sections and come over rises, and you can follow the guy in front of you, and if you see him, you just kind of pin it over the top, and float over the rollers, and you just surfing your way back to the border, man. It was really, really cool. Those are the 2 things I think about the most, I think.
That's
and
awesome.
want to go back. Yeah, it's great, man. I mean, it's cool. And chasing Tim, Gordon and I would talk about that on the radio to each other. You'd follow him. I say chasing him, but I mean, you'd follow him, and the guy would stand up, lean back, roost out of a corner, slide the bike
While texting
with his other hand. I mean, the guy's just a total stud rider. I mean, you never see his arms like moving. It's just all in his feet, and the guy's got probably more skill in one hand than I do in my whole body.
Yeah.
And that was cool too. It was really humbling, to ride with guys that were, I think, a lot faster than me, a lot better than me at that stuff. So
Well,
it was
yeah,
cool.
he's got years. I mean, he raced the Baja 1000 for a long time. I mean, he's legit. It's funny when I mention him to people that want to go and they want to tour and they want to guide. When I mention him, they just like, yeah, okay, well, they don't think of what or who he is until they come back and they're like, who is that guy?
Yeah. No, for real. I mean, we watched him go up that one hill outside of San Quentin, they call the Volcano. And I guess it's just like kitty litter. There's a radio tower up at the top. It's a pretty, it was a very formidable climb. I didn't attempt it because I was smoked and at the end of my day, and that was my thing. And on a race prep 650 with a shagged rear tire, the guy just motored right up it, like it was nothing. It was just amazing, So
Yeah.
it was cool, man. There was a good crew of guys and that he had with us too, and they took good care of us too. Nobody, there was no his sweep guys weren't trying to race us. Nobody made us feel like we were like that we couldn't hold our own, and that was cool too. I mean, we didn't feel like we were out of sorts because we were definitely the noobs.
Yeah, I think everybody that went on that trip had been with him. I think the one guy said he'd been 8 times.
Yeah.
And he was the rookie. Besides us, and then
Lonnie.
there's us, our first time.
Yeah.
Right, but one guy had been with him, I think, 30 something times. Another guy like 15, and so it was a real good seasoned group of people.
Yeah, and a guy who races.
All good guys. Yeah, great guys.
Yeah, it was cool. They all made us really feel welcome. I mean, and finally, I think on the third day, I think one of them finally throw us a couple little ego strokes. Go, you know what? I mean, the last newbies we took down there, maybe walked or did this or tapped out or whatever. So we felt like as long as we weren't tapping out and crying for mama that we were doing okay. And the race stories are really cool at night, over the dinner table. I love that stuff. I love racing. I love race history of all kinds. So it's cool to just sit and listen to all that stuff. It's really neat, man. There's a lot of history down there.
So what are you guys thinking your next bike now that you've did the trip? What are you guys thinking? What would you take down there next time as far as a bike if you had to pick any bike?
Oh man,
I'd take mine. I bought a 450X and built it up, to do the whole experience. I ended up blowing up a motor before our ride, so I went out and bought there's a little souvenir.
That's the evidence from the rebuild, the big bore.
Oh wow.
So yeah.
So I bought a 450 RL and kind of built it as a light adventure bike, and it was perfect for me. I got the bags on it and a big tank and, got a windscreen on it. So we built them for Baja, but also for Texas. So a lot of highway miles, I got some wind protection. I'd take it again in a heartbeat. I'm super happy with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think if I was going to do a short trip again, I wouldn't hesitate to take my bike down there. My bike's it was built by some guys, that raced it. It's got a bunch. I think the guy who built Johnny's motors back in the day built a motor in this bike, and I mean it's a pretty legit bike. It's way more than I think I need, but I don't know. I mean, I say that to say this. It's I also could envision myself like on something a little bigger and a little more reliable and going all the way to La Paz, or as far down there as I could get, with, like I said, with fins and a mask and, some fishing gear and maybe just enough clothes to last me a week and whatever. I don't know, so I don't know what that means. I did a dual sport ride in Arkansas and rented a Tenere 700 and that's a cool bike, and I mean, there's already a pretty strong aftermarket for it. Flip side of that is it's a 450 pound, bike. And I mean, it's a 450 pound bike, especially when things start getting out of hand. So I'm not sure, I mean, I'm not doing anything. I'm just going to keep riding mine for now until I figure it out. So.
See what he's doing? He's talking himself into getting a 2-stroke light dirt bike and a T7. Sorry, man.
That's how it works. So
I mean,
I'm gonna sell it to the wife.
Yeah, we always gotta, like Baja George says, we all can only have one wife, but we can have many motorcycles and also constantly fantasize about them.
Fair.
Yeah, I've got a problem.
Yeah, I don't.
Well,
I don't know, man. I mean. There's a lot of. It's a cool time to be alive, I think, and to be a mountain. Well, it is a cool time to be a mountain biker too, but it's a really cool time to be into like adventure bikes and dual sports right now. I mean, there's so much cool stuff coming down the road, and I mean, they're like you can buy so much stuff for them and trick them out to do whatever it is you want to do, and so I don't know. I mean, like I said, it's my bike's paid for and it runs great, and it's a Honda, and it needs a few tweaks, I think, to get a little bit better for the next Baja trip, and I'm looking forward to doing that with it.
Next year, man. Come on.
So yeah.
Yeah,
Let's go.
before I actually have something coming maybe here in the next week you guys are going to really enjoy. So just everybody stay tuned. I'm going to try to get the video put together here in the next 5 to 10 days. And I think you guys are going to be shocked, but it is a bike review. And I think I may get slammed for it or I may get praised, but I think you two guys will actually appreciate the bike I'm going to be testing out. So,
Well,
All right, we'll stay tuned.
yeah, I look forward to it for sure, man.
Got the notifications working now. So
It's not a 701, is it?
Harley.
no, 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 I'm not going to give,
We don't
I'm not going to
love
give
that
away
bike.
any hints because the content's real slow nowadays. So I got to make sure this one, everybody gets real excited for this little crumb I'm going to put out. So.
I'll tell you what, I mean, I see why guys ride those 650s down there, the 650Rs. That it's not, I think, as hyper focused as the X's, and or even like the I mean, they're bigger, they're a little bit more weight to them. They don't, they ride, you can just see how much smoother and softer they rode. And maybe soft is the wrong word because that implies that like it's blowing through its suspension or something, but it just and I'll even own that, like, I'm a total noob and probably have my stuff dialed in all completely wrong, but you could just see, I mean, like, those things are just Cadillacs, man. And those guys were there were two of them. Tim was on one and Adam was on the other one, I guess. And yeah, man, they just they didn't have any problem hanging with us. So I don't know if bigger's better yet. So I'm gonna keep trying and keep throwing. I just keep throwing motorcycles at it until I figure it
Hey,
out.
so I have one of your buddies, Mitch Templeton. He has a comment here. He says you guys are being a little too modest with your writing skills.
Well,
Mitch is a good guy. Yeah, he's actually, we let him in our posse because he has a get out of jail free card.
he
Oh,
is the get out
okay.
of jail free card. So
Yeah,
yeah.
he's a Texas judge. Don't hold
Nice.
that against him.
Well, maybe
What's up,
may,
Mitch?
yeah, maybe Mitch needs to come on one of my rides. I could use a get out of jail free card too.
Yeah, Mitch is. If you want to talk about an Africa Twin, that now's the time to talk about the Africa Twin, and even
Yeah, there you go.
the 300 Rally, because Mitch owns both of those,
Oh,
and
nice.
he rocks them both with some pride, man. He loves that big AT. It's a cool bike too. So I mean, you can hammer down across across the country on the thing if you wanted. So I think there's a place for him, in my garage. So
Right.
We're both Ducati fans. I'm kind of like a fanatic, but they just came out with that Desert X, so I'm interested in checking that out.
Yeah, absolutely. I posted that on my Instagram, and if I can get my hands on that, I'd like to check it out. I'm a fan of Ducati too. I was first introduced to to the brand when I was going to Italy on business, 10 years ago. And you would be blown away on how the Italian people treat that brand. I mean, it's like everybody's riding Ducatis over there. And if you're a young man and you're single, you're riding it with a tank top and you got a girl on the back, and that's what you do in Italy, and I was just kind of blown away by it. I'm like, because my contacts there were just like, oh yeah, you don't do anything as a young man. Just you get a Ducati and you get your girlfriend and you put her on the back and you go cruising.
Sounds like a plan to me. Do you have to be a young man?
Yeah.
there's something about them. I mean, we're as geeky about them as Harley people are about Harleys. And I don't judge Harleys. I got another buddy I've grown up with that, he rides a big bagger, and those are cool too. I mean, for if that's what you want to do. I'm still lustful. I still lust after things that that make race bike sounds and race truck sounds, and those are the things that kind of get my blood boiling. So it was cool, you know, and for us to take the bikes, all of it, and just do this 2-week long moto adventure was really cool. You know, we loaded up his race trailer and hooked it up behind the truck and just stuffed it full of gear and luggage and crap, and we just hauled ass out west. You know, Santa Fe was cool, or in New Mexico, but I ran into issues with my Ducati blowing fork seals and squirting oil at me on day 2.
I wonder how that happens.
Yeah, right. So, but it was cool. It was on the drive over to San Diego. I made some phone calls and was able to find a shop in out in Miramar that is the guy people in SoCal take their Ducatis to. He's in Lynn's shop, and he's like, well, if you can leave it for 4 or 5 days, I can get it done. And so I did. Like I dropped it off the day before we went to Tim's, and he got it done. So when we got back, he was able to also share some rides with us in Southern California, and we rode all the way out to Borrego Springs. Just carved up 250 plus miles of just some amazing roads that you guys have out there, with suspension that worked, which apparently is pretty cool on sport bikes. And it was neat, man. It was really cool. Like, that's what I bought that bike for. So it was an epic trip, man. I'm ready to do the next one. I can't wait to go back.
You know, that was one of those moments where we almost understood why people live in California. Almost.
Yeah. You mean it's not because of our taxes? You don't want to come here and just pay those? And
yeah,
I actually lived there in grade school and first and through middle school.
Okay.
So I moved back to Texas in high school and been here since. But man, it was great. I loved it.
Yeah, I mean,
but that was before I understood what politics was.
Well, I mean, like I said, it really is the best place to ride or do any kind of adventure in the world. But yeah, it's just now we have people controlling it that, you know, have other plans for California, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, maybe they're trying to run people out on purpose, you know.
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting.
They're all coming here, by the way.
I went to my wife and I went to LA. Literally, I was back a week and 2 weeks, and we went to LA just for a couple's weekend getaway. We go to every now and then we fly to Hollywood and go see a show at the Bowl, and the difference in how everything is in like the LA area versus how everything was down in San Diego. Like, nobody cared if you had a mask on, and we even rode the Ducatis down to like Ocean Beach and went, you know, to go get a burger, and we're just chilling, and it was not. And nobody cared, you know, down there. And in LA, it was like it was on lockdown, and you got mask shamed, and
Right.
You know, show us your papers and where's your card, and you know, all that shit, man. It's I don't know. It was two very different places, even though they were only within a few hours of each other.
I agree. I mean, everybody that I met was just you know, love the country, love family, and all the things that I believe in and we experience here in Texas. So I was like, what's the big deal? Well, it's the big centers, city centers, I guess. But
yeah, I mean, well,
great people down there.
It's
Had a
all
really good time.
It's all news, you know. The news is just poison now, and paints pictures of, you know, and look at, I mean, people, when they, like you guys, when you find out, when you actually come here, there's a lot more of us, you know, people who have simple minds, and actually you know, we make sense when we think and make laws. But there's, yeah, I mean, it's the city centers that are just ridiculous. But okay, so we're now at 44 minutes. I'd like to have you guys on again if you guys ever do another, you know, adventure. You guys come back on. You guys are always welcome to come on the show. I will be posting that video next week, so maybe I'll get you guys to come back on and maybe ask me some questions about it, because I think you guys are probably professionals in what the bike I'm gonna be riding. So
Cool.
All right, man. We'll look forward to it.
Let the cat out of the bag. Right on, Mark. Well, hey, man, thanks again for the inspiration.
Yeah.
And, you know, if you ever put together a ride, You're gonna call us, right?
Yeah,
I want to go
absolutely.
out and ride with you.
Yeah, you guys are gonna be leaders, and I could just be in the back.
Hey,
Okay.
that's whatever, man. I mean, we take turns, dude. It's we're all out of shape and you know,
So,
you know. So, I mean, it's or too many injuries or whatever. And I mean, we like to have fun and light our hair on fire too. And but it's all just about having a good time, man. So I think that's the coolest thing about it is you know, we can reach out across a country and hook up with some dudes that we never met and have a great time, man. You know, around this one cool thing, you know, that we all kind of united us all, and that's motorcycles, man. It sounds kind of cheesy and cliche and shit, but I mean, it's what you know, it's what brought me and him together as friends, and it's what keeps you know like folks like Mitch hanging out in our group and stuff. And anyway, so thanks, man. I mean, it's been fun, you know. It was a cool thing for me to finally go down there after so many years. And now that I feel like I just crossed a threshold, and now all I want to do is go back again. So I'm looking forward to the next one, man.
Cool.
yeah.
All right, guys. Well, we'll see you on the next one. For all you guys, thanks for watching tonight. I'm gonna try to do this every Monday, but if you don't get a notification an hour before 8 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, then I'm probably not going to do it for unknown reasons, whether I can't make it home on time or whatnot. But we'll try to keep these going. Happy holidays to all you guys. And I will have a video here in the next week or two I think you guys might be interested in. And like I said, I'll keep trying to put stuff together as we, through this 2022. So, all right, we'll see you guys on the next one.